Hello and welcome to computer class. My name is Dave and today we're talking about HTML style, specifically the style attribute. Um, so navigate to W3 Schools and click on their HTML tutorial and then click on the styles tab. Now, what exactly is a style? If you remember last time in my lesson, I talked about different attributes, and one of those was the style attribute. The style attribute allows you to add elements to your HTML tags, such as a color, a font, and a lot of other things. So it's extremely helpful. And here you can see in this example, we have red, blue, we have a larger tag here, or a larger piece of text. And we did all that by styling it. So here we have the font size is set to 50 pixels if you look in the illustration. So what exactly goes into a style on a web page? Well, specifically, there is a property and a value in between quotation marks of the style attribute. And these properties and values are known as CSS. So the property is a CSS property and the value is a CSS property. It's an entirely different language that we haven't learned yet, but applies to the HTML language. And so that language, CSS, stands for Cascading Style Sheets. So when you use cascading style sheets, it makes your HTML more styled or better to look at. It kind of beautifies the just boring HTML code that you would otherwise have. So what's the first um, style that they give us in this tutorial? Well, the CSS background color defines the background color for an HTML element. So typically you would probably use this with a certain section, maybe a div tag, but here they're applying this style, the background color, and they're calling it, and you could put any color right there, as when we talk about colors, I will discuss that, how to get these colors. But anyway, you can pretty much type any color here and you will get this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this style right here because this is the first one they give us. And I'm going to go over to my spreadsheet to write these down. And I'm going to make a new tab by hitting the plus right there, add sheet. And I'm going to call it CSS and put code and explanation at the top like I did with HTML. Then I'm going to drop my code in there. And this style right here does the background color for a tag. Okay? So if we wanted to write it down and we wanted to keep that for later in case anybody needs to remember it. Okay? So basically when I hit the try it myself here, notice the entire background of the page turns to a separate color. And that's because I did the body tag. Now if I applied the background color, let's just say to this whole style section here, if I erase that and applied it to the H1 tag and hit run, notice the background would just apply to that specific tag. So again, it's by tag and you can use these styles with any tag, just so everyone's aware there. Okay? You can set a background color for two different elements. Here they do the same thing, and they style them each a different color. Now, if I wanted to create almost a color around these, I would have to use a container and set these in. We really haven't talked about that container yet, but that would color both of them in the block that they're in. So that's something to take note of. The next is the text color, and that is the color, and then notice all of these are divided by a colon, and at the end of them they have a semicolon. That's what differentiates the as we go to the top, the property and the value. So the colon differentiates the property from the value, and the semicolon. I forgot to mention that, but that's pretty important. So here we have text color, and it's color colon blue semicolon. So let's drop that in real quick. Remember that, and then this is a text color. Okay. Next, we have fonts. In order to do fonts, you would write the style font family and then you would name the actual font. Now to do this, you kind of have to know fonts that are out there. If you're wondering some of the fonts, sometimes a good idea is to go to Google Fonts and to click on Google Fonts right here and to type in, a font that you might like, or even look through the list here, and you can find names like, these. Ubuntu, it's apparently a font and an operating system, whatever. Meriwether, Work Sans. You can find all these different ones. You can even download these fonts and use them in combination with your website. But for right now, let's just say you're accessing them in the web browser. You're telling it which font to use. You would use font-family colon Verdana, sorry, and then a semicolon. So let's drop that in. And font family. Okay. So these are all styles. The next is the text size, and you would do that by font dash size. So again, a lot of these make sense, and then you would give a percentage of the size you want to. You could also say that number in pixels if you wanted to. So I'm going to copy that and stick it in here, and this is the font size. Here we go. And then we have text align, whether you want the text on the left, right, or the center. You should also put this in there. Okay. And I'm gonna grab that and drop it into my spreadsheet. Text align. All right, and I believe that's everything. There's a chapter summary here. Now, let's actually use these combinations in tandem and see if we can create something in our HTML. So now that we have all of these, let's do a HTML document. And to do this, we're not going to need to create our normal directory structure because we don't really have anything. So we can hit File, New, File, Save As. We'll save it as index.html, and I'm just going to save it right to my desktop. Again, normally you need a directory structure, but this is such a simple HTML document, you don't really need it. And just for the sake of illustration, I'm going to go to the HTML homepage and grab their simple HTML document right there and just drop it in here. And now that I have this HTML document, I could do what I normally do, which is tab things in. Here we go. Forgot that one. Press Control S to save. And then I could style this. Okay. Now there is a way to style everything from a separate page, and there also is a way to style things in the head section, but for right now we're just doing this inline styling just to get this down and doing per element. And I know this is a little bit harder, but you have to start with the harder way first. Okay, so let's just say we wanted to do the color of this paragraph, and notice all these colors come up immediately. Okay, let's just do blue for the sake of it. And again, I'm using my arrow keys to do that. And then a semicolon. But let's also do the text align, and let's center it. Okay, with the semicolon, press Control S, and let's actually go to our desktop and load that up. Now notice, there it is. It's an H1 tag. It's been centered, and it's blue. Let's give a background color though, because that could be kind of cool. Let's do it to the whole body. So let's do style equals backgrounds color, and let's pick let's do a lot of colors here, a lot of choices. We can make it really ugly. That's the problem with this whole thing. Let's do a blanched, whatever that is, almond. Okay. And again, if it's not working and you try this, make sure you have your semicolons at the end and make sure you have your colons in the middle. And your code editor should, write this pretty easily. Say we have a tan in the background. Now let's also do this paragraph here. What was one of the other ones that we have missed to use? Let's see. So we have our background color, our color. Let's do a font family. Okay. Let's see if they have Comic Sans. I don't know, but let's just see. Font family, Comic Sans. So let's just see if that's a font family. It might not allow us to. I might have to just do Arial and just chill with that. Oh. I spelled Comic Sans right, so that's not the issue. Well, let's try something different. Let's try Arial. So you can actually target a specific font, or you can do a category of fonts. So there we go, changed it to Arial right there. But I could have also done like sans serif fonts and then press save, and it would pick a sans serif font for me, and it would be the same thing because this is like the category of font. So again, it really doesn't matter which one of those you pick. Which other one haven't we done? The font size. Let's do the 300% like it says. Well, actually, let's do style and then drop that in there. We need a paragraph. Control C, Control V are very helpful, by the way, just in case you're wondering. And there we go. There's a paragraph that is size 300. So kind of play with things and see what you can come up with. Show maybe some pictures down in the comments if you want to. If you're not subscribed to this channel, I encourage you to do so by clicking the red subscribe button. And hopefully you learned something today about HTML styles and specifically applying them to your HTML elements. And I will see you in the next video.